In this video, you're going to learn some really useful phrases that you can hear native speakers use when they're frustrated, when they're amazed, when they're surprised, when they're in awe. All these expressions can use ale, but are not translated with but. Ale can be a conjunction connecting two contrasting ideas. However, it can also have a different function, something that we will discuss in this video. Let me show you these two sentences so you know what I mean. Ale to je náhoda. Ale to je náhoda. This would mean, but that is a coincidence. You could express the opposite. You could say, I managed to do something, but that was a coincidence. I'm not that good. Ale to je náhoda. What about this one? To je ale náhoda. To je ale náhoda. We usually would say this as an exclamation, and we would often write it with an exclamation point. Also, the melody would be different. To je ale náhoda versus ale to je náhoda. This second sentence would mean something like, what a coincidence. So these sentences are slightly different because here ale works as a connector expressing contrast. And here it's a particle. Particles are words that express people's feelings or attitudes towards something. So here we want to emphasize, wow, what a coincidence. That is such a coincidence in a way. We will leave this function aside and we will take a look at this one. Here it is translated with but, and here it would be translated with the word such or so, or also the sentence could start with the word what. What a coincidence, or that is such a coincidence. And this is what I am going to speak about in this video. Jdeme na to. Dobrý den, vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. I want to show you some phrases where ale is followed by a noun or a noun phrase. This is the most typical use. If you think something is boring or you're simply bored, you can say, to je ale nuda. To je ale nuda. Nuda means boredom. So we could say this means something like, this is so boring, or what a bore. Literally, this would be what a boredom. This is such a boredom. In Czech, we really like to use nouns, where in English you would rather use an adjective. So you're likely to say to je ale nuda, nuda, the noun, rather than nudný, which is boring. If you think something is boring, you would say to je nuda, and you can emphasize it with this word working as a particle. To je ale nuda. This is so boring. Remember the word order? If you had ale at the beginning and the melody would be like this, ale to je nuda, it would mean, but that is boring. Whereas here you evaluate the situation that is boring, that it's so boring. To je ale nuda. Or if you do something stupid, you can tell yourself, to jsem ale blbec. I'm such an idiot. Or what an idiot. Ježiš, to jsem ale blbec. To jsem ale blbec. Let's use it for something positive. You are very happy with this beautiful vacation that you had. You could say, to byla ale nádherná dovolená. To byla ale nádherná dovolená. What a wonderful vacation that was. You can use it in past tense as well. To byla ale nádherná dovolená. It doesn't have to be with the verb to be. Mostly it is. But for example here, you could say, we are so lucky. My máme ale štěstí. We are so lucky. What luck we have. My máme ale štěstí. Notice that you use ale right before the noun or the noun phrase. To je ale nuda. To jsem ale blbec. To byla ale nádherná dovolená. My máme ale štěstí. Ale in this particular function can be also followed by an adjective only. That's when we describe something without mentioning what it is. We use the neuter gender, for example. Or we describe someone. This would be used with the verb to be. You see something beautiful and you can say, to je ale krásné. Krásné would be the proper Czech, and many Czech speakers would use the colloquial form, which would be krásný. That would be the common Czech. Obecná čeština. To je ale krásný. This is so beautiful, or how beautiful. To je ale krásný. Or you see something terrible and you can say, to je ale strašné. This is the proper form, or the common form would be, to je ale strašný. To je ale strašný. How terrible. This is so terrible. Or you can tell someone, you're amazing. Ty jsi ale úžasný. Ty jsi ale úžasná. For a woman. Úžasný for a man, úžasná for a woman. And the masculine form could also have the common Czech form úžasnej. Ty jsi ale úžasnej. Ty jsi ale úžasná. You are incredible. You're amazing. Ale can also be followed by a verb, but that's not very common. But it's still important to mention because sometimes certain verbs could have it. This is an interesting phrase. Ty se ale máš. Ty se ale máš. Máš doesn't mean to have in this case. Remember that jak se máš can also mean how are you doing. So this has to do something with someone's life or how they're doing. Ty se ale máš simply says, oh, you're doing so well. Lucky you. Ty se ale máš. It could be a reaction to someone who says, I got a promotion and now I got a new office, and you can tell them, teda ty se ale máš. Lucky you. You're so lucky. Or on the other hand, if you messed something up, you can say, to jsem ale podělal. I really messed that up. To jsem ale podělal. Podělat is very expressive. It's not really vulgar, but be careful where you use this. It simply means to mess something up. It's not that vulgar. We have other words that are worse. To jsem ale podělal. Or a woman would say, to jsem ale podělala. Ale in these expressions could also be replaced by an informal word teda. Ty se teda máš. To jsem teda podělal. A few months ago I also talked about the use of this word very briefly. I was talking about the words strašný and strašně, pěkný and pěkně, and I spoke about teda, how we can use it when we emphasize that something was really good or really bad. Let's see some more examples in context. I want to read a short story from my first Czech adventure, which is great for beginners and false beginners. The third story is called Pejsek. So you know that in the Czech Republic people love dogs, animals in general, but almost everybody owns a dog. So when you walk down the street, you meet a lot of dogs and their owners, and sometimes you can stop and say hi to the dog. So this is what happened here. Now we're going to listen to this very, very short story. It's just this much. Listen with me. You will see the text here. Then we will take a look at the English translation. 3. Pejsek. Po ulici jde slečna a na vodítku má psa. Huskyho. Zastaví ji babička a ptá se. To je ale krásný pejsek. Jak se jmenuje? Slečna odpovídá.
I don't understand.
A babička říká. Jo, aha, ty jsi ale krásný, I don't understand. So here is the English translation, and I'm going to comment on the sentences that have ale. There are 2 to be exact. Zastaví ji babička a ptá se. To je ale krásný pejsek. Jak se jmenuje? She says, to je ale krásný pejsek. What a beautiful dog. What a beautiful doggy. Pejsek is a little dog. To je ale krásný pejsek. So here we don't translate ale as but we say this is such a beautiful dog or what a beautiful dog. To je ale krásný pejsek. And it's typical when you see something very beautiful or something very ugly or disgusting, you could just say ale. To je ale krásný. Oh, fuj, to je ale hnusný. And the lady uses the word ale as the same function. Ty jsi ale krásný, I don't understand. Takže ty jsi ale krásný. You're such a beautiful dog name, I don't understand, which he thought it was his name. Ty jsi ale krásný. And by the way, if you like this story, there's more. There are 20 stories like this. Some of them are a little bit longer. There's also exercises, and there is an appendix at the end that will show you all the verbs that are discussed in this ebook, which is 60 to be exact. There are some fun exercises. And if you don't have this ebook yet, you can get it with a 30% discount until next Tuesday. This is a printable ebook, which means you can print it. And because it's an ebook, it means that you can have it on as many devices as you can. And if I make an update to the ebook, you will also get it free of charge. I want you to get comfortable using the word ale, or at least understanding how it works. So in this exercise, we are going to build simple sentences that would contain these keywords and ale, of course. Here you see the English translations, and to create Czech sentences, you will use the verb to be, ale, and those keywords on top. Pause the video while you work on this. Jdeme to zkontrolovat, let's check it. Číslo 1. What a pity is to je ale škoda. To je ale škoda. Číslo 2. How awful is to je ale hrůza. To je ale hrůza. You could also say to je ale hrozný if that was the option. Číslo 3. That was so stupid, or what nonsense that was. To byla ale blbost. What a beautiful picture. To je ale krásná fotka. To je ale krásná fotka. Číslo 5. That's so weird, or how strange. To je ale divný. Divný, the common Czech form. To je ale divný. A číslo 6. Ew, that smells terrible. Fuj, to je ale smrad.
To je ale smrad.
To je ale smrad. A to je všechno. Thank you so much for watching this video. Keep your ears ready to listen for these phrases. Maybe this is something that you will start hearing everywhere around you. If you want to learn Czech in context and you are leaning towards the beginner's side, don't forget to check this wonderful ebook. A já se na vás budu těšit za týden. Nazdar!